So recently, Drill America sent out a set of drill bits for me to try out and test. In exchange, I told them I'd run these things to the paces, see if I could gather a little bit of an opinion as to what I thought about them, and then in turn, see if I could do these things justice and relay this to you so that you can make an informed decision before you guys make the purchase, because in the end, these drill bits are a bit of an investment. With that being said, these are made by Drill America. This is a 29-piece set. This thing comes in this nice little round case here. It does have this little rubber gasket here to help seal it to the lid, so it should kind of keep most of the moisture out of this. So if you're going to store these things like the bed of your truck in the toolbox, something of that nature, you shouldn't have to worry about these bits rusting overnight on you. Now, these bits are a 5% cobalt bit. They are gold oxide plated on the outside to kind of help with the durability. I want to try to do a fair comparison to a set of bits I've already got in the shop. So I grabbed my nicer set, which is kind of my go-to set that I use out here, which comes in this traditional style case like you see here. I've owned this set for a couple years now, but I have some bits in here that I have never used before either, so I wanted to make sure my comparisons were as fair as possible. I grabbed the same size bits, and I used bits that were never used before for all my testing, just so I could see what a fair comparison would be when drilling this and see if these actually outperformed or underperformed the set that I'm used to using. So that being said, let's go ahead and dive into some of the features on these bits, and then I'll show you some comparisons as to some holes I drilled. I've got about 70 to 80 holes now across different various bits in this kit. So what's unique about these bits is this stepped point design. Now, Drill America has been in business for just over 100 years, so they've got a lot of engineering that goes into this, as well as a lot of experience they bring to the table. Now, this stepped point design is something that I've never actually used before. I've owned several different unibits over the years, and I've really loved these things as well. I thought this was kind of a unique way to bring this in and kind of make a hybrid bit in a way. So where this bit's going to shine compared to something like a traditional style bit here is it's going to help reduce the walking, so it should make it easier to start your hole. It's going to have reduced heat in theory, as well as an increased lifespan is the way they advertise this. Nowhere in this video can I really attest to the lifespan of these things yet, because I just don't have enough holes on them. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that these bits are going to last forever. That's something that we're going to have to test out later on. But with that being said, I do want to kind of tell you how they stacked up compared to my other bits and see if I can give you guys a fair assessment at the same time. So when it came to the testing on these, I went ahead and grabbed a few of the scrap pieces of metal I had laying around the shop, and I wanted to see exactly what they could do. I wanted to see how these bits performed and stacked up to my other bits that I have. So the first thing I grabbed was a piece of 1/4-inch plate steel that I had laying in my scrap bin, and we went ahead and threw a couple holes in this thing with each bit. The first thing I noticed when it came to every hole that I drilled actually is these stepped bits actually drill a hole faster in every material than my standard size bits do. They tend to eat through the material a little bit better. The other thing I noticed is not once did I have a problem with these bits walking on me. Usually I end up using a center punch on every material I use just to keep the bit from walking, and in this case I didn't even grab the center punch. I wanted to see how they compared and if either of the bits walked more than the other. And as I suspected, usually when I grab a drill bit, if it's a smaller diameter bit, I usually have a lot less problem with walking than I do with something a little bit larger in size like this. But even on the larger sizes this time around with these stepped bits, I didn't have any problems with walking. They started the hole immediately, which is what I figured they kind of would do since they were advertised that way. But then like I said, they get through the material just a couple seconds quicker than my standard style bit does. Now the one thing I did see this bit outperform my other bits in is, say you start off with a smaller hole and you want to upsize the hole. Now the one thing I did notice on these stepped bits was if you go and drill a smaller size hole, then you want to upsize the hole. If you take too big of a leap and go to a bigger size bit, bits like this tend to and it makes it hard for them to chew through that material. On these stepped bits here, it didn't seem to matter. If I started with a smaller bit and then I stepped up to the largest bit, it ate right through that smaller hole with no problem at all, and it didn't snag at all on me. So I thought that was a really cool feature. I don't know how many times I've gotten a little too ambitious and I've stepped up to too large of a size of bit, and then I go to drill and enlarge that hole, and that drill snaps on me and flings my wrist the opposite direction. And we've all been there. We know how that feels. Now I did go ahead and run a couple other tests as well. I grabbed a little small chunk of rebar. I wanted to see how that did. I was hoping, honestly, that my other bits would walk on it and the stepped bits wouldn't, but honestly, I didn't have any walking issues on this rebar. I wish I'd had something that was a little larger in diameter, but I didn't have anything laying around right now to be able to test that on. Rebar, once again, stepped drill bits, drilled through that just a couple seconds quicker. And then I stepped up to some of this stock that I had right here, and a little bit thicker material. I want to see how it would do on this. And same scenario, chewed in through it just fine, no walking issues with either bit, and then just a couple seconds quicker than my traditional style bits are. I did go ahead and check it out on the drill press as well. I want to see how it did there, and the results kind of stayed the same there as well. So unfortunately, this is going to be kind of a boring video. All my testing was pretty much identical across materials. The step bits are just a couple seconds faster. So in all honesty, comparing my two sets here, they come within just a few dollars of each other when it comes to price. These actually did edge out my go-to bits. They outperform them, at least for now. When it comes to longevity, like I said, that's the one thing I can't attest to yet, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you that these things will last forever. But from what I could tell, the reviews and research I've done on these bits, there's more than enough happy reviews out there that you guys can look at and see that these bits have been holding strong for quite some time for several people out there. So in all honesty, if I was trying to nitpick anything at all in these drill bits, the only thing I could really come up with is the fact that if you're looking at the case here, the markings on the side of the case that tells you the size, I wish that was a little bit easier to read. If they had made that a different color, maybe put that in white instead of just a black like that, it'd be a little easier to pick out the drill bit size that I was looking for. That's the only thing that really stood out to me differently, was like something like this on this case. It's really easy to read the drill bit size that you're looking for and pick that out of the box. But other than that, I'm pretty impressed with this little kit. I really like the step bit design. I think that's a neat addition. I'm looking forward to kind of getting some more holes out of these things. See how they stack up over time with the other bits that I've got here. Hopefully I did these a little bit of justice to help you guys make a decision as to whether these might be the right kit for you or not. Appreciate you guys taking the time to watch, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.